All right. All right. Thanks very much to the organizers of SoCE, and it's really good to be back here after many, many years. And it's good to see a lot of activities being done by SoCE. Um, so let me start. So I want this session to be very interactive. So feel free to interrupt anytime, unmute yourself, and ask questions. Type in the chat, however way you want. So I don't want to be just talking all the way. All right, so let me, oh, can you enable the screen sharing for me?
Okay. 1 second.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, you can try now.
Perfect. All right, so I hope you can see my screen clear. All right, so I was approached by the organizers to give this session. I was thinking, what should I talk about? I mean, I know, yeah, this career choice is kind of a buzzword, and we are all like want to know and want to get guidance on what kind of choices to make at this point. So I was kind of I tried to put myself in the same shoes like many years ago when I was at your stage, and so I asked myself, like, what would I have benefited from if I have known some of the answers to some of the questions, right? So I tried to put up some of the stuff that might help you all, but feel free to chime in anytime, and if something is not clear, or if you want me to talk about something totally different, I'm happy to do so. And so I titled this talk something on Beyond the Skies, not because one reason, obviously, I work with satellites and satellite data sets, and those go above the clouds. But then by the end of this talk, hopefully you'll get a message from this talk that I want to make sure that is highlighted all the way, that you need to be thinking above the obstacles and above the clouds kind of thing. So you have to think high and aim high. And so that will be my main one of the main messages that I want to highlight to this talk. But anyway, so as I was introduced, I am Shahryar, right now as a research scientist here at Goddard Space Flight Center, and I graduated in 2016 from IIT Kanpur. So already 5 years. So let's, I'll just bore you guys with some of my a couple of slides on my journey so far. So and then we'll get to some more interesting stuff later on. So right after I graduated, I started. I got a position for MS in civil engineering, masters at University of Washington. So I joined this group, and that was mainly in hydrology. So my main interest earlier was in geoinformatics. So I was taking courses or doing projects in geoinformatics at IITK. So I wasn't very I didn't want to go to hydrology right away, and I didn't have any I didn't do even electives in hydrology when I was in my final year or fourth year or third year when I had the chance. So I was taking mainly courses in remote sensing, or there's class from, I think, Professor Omkar Dikshit. He used to teach machine processing of remotely sensed data. So I liked that class a lot. And then there were some projects I did with Dr. Bharat Lohani. I don't know if he's still around or so. So my interest was kind of working with satellites and geoprocessing and geoinformatics, those kind of things. So, but the thing is, if you want to apply or if you want to go for research in this area, not a lot of schools here, specifically in US, they don't offer remote sensing as a specific major, right? So sometimes they have in geography, sometimes they have in civil engineering. So, and basically there is application of remote sensing in different areas. So this was one of the things that got me interested. So this group was doing some of the applications in hydrology and water resources management using remote sensing. So that got me interested. And then my Professor Faisal Hussain, if you see, I think the third from left, so he used to, I sent him my resume, and then we talked over, and then finally got accepted, and then started my research here in hydrology and trying to take courses. And at first, I was kind of overwhelmed as well for a bit of time, because one thing, if you notice on the west coast of US, most of the universities follow a quarter system. Like, for example, in IITK, we have semesters, 2 semesters a year, but here they follow like 4 quarters. And so that's kind of quite fast. So like two weeks in the quarter, we get quizzes, we get midterms, and then I think what's going on is quite fast. So, but then you get used to it. But the good thing is at IITK, the curriculum is so good, so intense, and we are made to, so our level of, like, I should say like the hard work we do at IITK with all the quizzes and all the assignments and the midterms and finals, that makes you so used to this hard work. So if you come here, you feel kind of relaxed as well, because even the grading is quite easy, and for especially for graduate students. So the curriculum was kind of easy to handle in the beginning. So that was good, but the focus was on research. So I tried to started looking into different aspects of research, how to write a thesis and what kind of topics to explore. So that's was kind of very interesting journey from there. And then we chose a topic, and then we went along, and then I converted to a PhD, and then I started doing my PhD as well in the same group. So with that, okay. So over time, I think in my second second year of when I came here, I got this chance to do an internship at NASA as well. So that was quite exciting, because my professor, he got us in touch with one of the supervisors here at Goddard, and they were working with some of the data assimilation stuff and some of the stuff with satellites. And so this picture you see is one of the global precipitation measurement missions. You might have come across if you worked in hydrology so far, or maybe you will get to know about it soon if you are into this. So we used to work with this particular mission a lot during our research, and then we got a project that was involving some of these data sets and some of the data assimilation stuff that NASA was doing. So we sent our resume to the supervisor, and then I was not alone. I had one of my group mates as well. So both of us joined this internship in 2017, and this was like a 3-month project. And this was quite exciting, because we got to know many people there, and then see how the research is being done in one of the national labs here at NASA. So that was pretty fun. All right, let's not bore too much with this stuff. Yeah, this is very briefly. So as I came along to my research, I tried to find some problems that are especially going on. And so I was like being grown into one of the cities in India where we had a lot of problem of power shortage, right? I know most of you have experienced this thing that we have a lot of power shutdowns or blackouts and all of that, right? So I tried to focus on one of these problems, and so using my expertise not an expertise, but whatever I learned in hydrology and water management, I tried to focus on hydropower and try to make it more sustainable. So I tried to shape my research, or first my master's research and then PhD dissertation along this topic of making the hydropower operations more sustainable using different forecasts we have. So I use different techniques, remote sensing, artificial intelligence, and numerical weather prediction, which is kind of weather forecasting. So combine all of that to kind of address this problem. So this was my main topic. And then another thing that I'm quite grateful to my advisor here at University of Washington, which he ingrained in us, that to think beyond the papers, right? Think beyond the publications, because as a researcher, sometimes we are so more engrossed into publishing and increasing the paper weight, which is very important. I mean, if you want to go far in your career in academia, paper is good, but then what really drives you should not be the papers, or should not be these paper weight, right? What really drives you should be something that is far beyond those those outcomes. And that is like really the impact, the application of what you are doing to the masses. So he's quite a bit into like movie making, right? So he has done this cotton fields from the ivory tower. I've given the link here. I can paste in the chat also later on. So this is where it highlights that sometimes we are confined into these ivory towers, and we do the research from here, but then it never reaches the masses, right? It never reaches those who really need the research. It is because a layman or some of the stakeholders, they don't read our papers, right? So we have to bring this research to the masses. So he's a lot into this, and so one of the aspects of my research that I was quite impressed with was to bridge this gap between the research and application. Some popularly is called value of death. So to do that, so we use a lot of web development. We show our models on a interactive user interface. So there's a lot of such systems that we have built in our group. You can check that out later on as well. Mostly related to hydrology, but the idea is basically to show your research to the world outside, right? How to make it more accessible, how to improve the outreach of that research. So to make the research, sometimes it is useful, but then it is not user ready, right? It is ready to be used in the intake of that research for the masses. So that is one of the things that we did as a part of my research. All right, so that was about that. So let's get into something more interesting. So I like at this point when I was, for example, in second or third year of my undergrad, so I was thinking, okay, should I go into, what do I really want to do, right? So in the third year of my undergrad, I got a chance to do an internship at there's a MyTex program, and that was in Canada. So I got a chance to do a research internship at Simon Fraser University. So there I got exposed to like what a research lab looks like, right? Outside of obviously our undergrad. And so what I felt was, I was thinking, okay, should I be more involved in extracurricular activities, or should I be more involved into academics, or should I be doing some projects or something, right? So, but what we realized was it's not about just your research, or it's not just about extracurricular activities. It's something that builds your personality altogether, right? So if you are involved in, suppose, one extracurricular activity, maybe that might be building a skill in you that might come very, very useful later on in your research, and you will not realize that how it helped for me. So for example, I was into a lot of web development. So I was kind of involved in building my own web page, and I was doing all kind of stuff. I was actually involved with Techriti earlier, and I was, I think, web coordinator or something. I was helping them to do something on the websites. So that skill actually helped me a lot when I was doing my master's or even PhD to build those operational systems that I showed earlier. And even that thing was even more useful when I was doing that internship at NASA, where they also had to build something similar. And this kind of skill was something they were looking for, right? Because many times a web developer will not have the skills of hydrology. So this is kind of just a quick example to show you that every experience that you have while you do your undergrad, it will count at the end, right? So don't think that, okay, my extracurricular activities are only to fill in my resume, right? You can surely lengthen your resume and then fill in those things, but then what really impacts is the skills that you develop and how you can use that to further your research in your future life. So have that thing in mind, that it's not just, you are not just building a resume, but it's also that you are building yourself, your personality through the different curriculum activities you are doing. So I was a lot into video making and photography. So those things also helped a lot later on. And then I just showed this example here. So during my PhD, my professor has a collaboration with Professor Bharat Lohani. So they were doing, and even Professor Shivan Tripathi, I think he's not in this picture. So we used to, actually, I visited IIT Kanpur a couple of years ago for this project called PANI. Maybe, I don't know if some of you are from hydrology, you might know. It's called Provision of Advisory for Necessary Irrigation. So we used to visit this farm. This is there's a farm called Bansati, right behind IIT Kanpur campus. So we visited there, and then we were doing this project from citizen science, where we were installing some of the gauges, some of the AWS stations, and trying to that tries to measure the atmospheric parameters. So I tried to, so this project, I put it here because this project actually helped us to engage with farmers right away. So we had a fun project where we did this on 100 pilot farmers, and they have small fields, and we are trying to assess that how the satellites or remote sensing can help improve the irrigation. So this was quite fun. I got to meet with a lot of farmers and got to visit the campus as well. And then, yeah, so in this same line of thought, when every experience counts, so try to even like have like some trips, or like as part of your SoCE, when the COVID thing goes away, have some fun trips across, and so try to learn from others' experience as well, right? So this is very important. So all of this actually builds your personality. One thing is your academics, where you are obviously excelling in your studies, and IIT Kanpur, I think, is one of the best institutes where you do a research, right? It is actually known for its research. When I came here, and when I tell, like, even at NASA, that okay, it's from IIT Kanpur, so they know, yeah, it's quite well-renowned institute for research and what they do there. So you have got a very good platform there to build your research and to build your academic base. But then make sure that you also make use of different skills you have, different activities that are being planned there, and then and try to build your personality as a whole. And that will come handy a lot later on. All right, any questions till this point? How are we doing with time? Let's see. Okay, it's 9:53. Okay, so we have around. Yeah, stop me anytime if you have any questions, or if you want to just have a chat. All right, so as I was scrolling through some of the questions that the organizers gave to me, and then also from my thoughts, that what questions I had earlier when I was at your stage. So I tried to summarize them in a in this short form, in one slide, that what kind of questions do we have, right, and how to navigate through them. So I will pose some of the questions here, list some of them, and try to answer them. And as I list those questions here, try to think in your mind also, what would you do, and what would the answer be in your mind at this particular stage. So first thing, so if you want to really go into academia or R&D, or this kind of career, or for that matter, like core, like as the slide mentioned or the poster mentioned. So if you want to go into this kind of job, so many students have this question that, okay, do I need a lot of research background at this point of time to get into a graduate program, right? So I titled this slide as Truth and Myths in a Research Career. So if you want to pursue, sometimes we have built this this bubble, or sometimes we have built this notion of, okay, I want to have this qualifications if I want to really apply into a research graduate program, or if I want to pursue a PhD, or have a career in academia. So let's try to navigate through them. So first thing, obviously you don't need research papers at all to get into a graduate program. But yes, this is a really plus point, that if you have a couple of conferences, or maybe just a single journal paper, it doesn't have to have a high impact factor. If you have this, then what it really shows is you have a research mindset, right from your undergrad. So and when you apply for, suppose, other programs, or say master's program, or if you want to apply for a research position somewhere, I don't know if they open right after undergrad, but sometimes they might be. So what they really want to see is if you have a research mindset at this point or no, right? If you want to have a research-based job after this. So showing a research paper helps a lot, because that means you have put your thoughts, you have put your time and energy outside of your regular academics, outside of your conventional, for example, conventional exams, conventional courses, and you have put that energy into doing something innovative, something creative, right? So it doesn't have to be research paper for that matter. It could be like a project that you did with your professor, or maybe a class project that you came up with, and then you try to maybe show that as an example of your thinking capabilities, right? Of your analytical skills that you can think of at this point of time. So this might help a lot to hit that aspect of you have this research mindset, right? So obviously, yeah, the answer to this is no. You don't have to have lots of research papers to get into research graduate program, as you might be already aware of. But then, yeah, just to break that myth that no. Okay, next thing, CPI. So we used to have this notion as well that if you want to go into to a PhD program, you have to have like 10 or something. No, obviously not. So what CPI, how CPI matters here. So actually what I realized was the grading system at IITK is, so it grades an individual a lot on, I mean, I will say it's kind of more strict grading as compared to what the US system is, right? In US, if you come here and for the graduate programs, you will easily get like here's a 4-point system. So out of 4, you will easily get like 3.7, 3.8 in any course if you are like average. So a C or maybe B of IITK could mean here like 3.9 or something. So it's really good. So the scaling, it differs a lot. But then do not take it as a rule that okay, I can go away with 6 or 7 as well. But so what CPI denotes is for me is how much effort you have put into for your regular academics, right? It shows kind of your commitment to the studies and commitment to the coursework that you have at the moment. So having a high CPI definitely matters for research. I would not say that it doesn't matter. For example, if you're going into jobs or like non-course, I don't know, others might know better. I don't have a very good idea of non-core, but then for going to core, I think it's good to have a good enough CPI. And when I say decent CPI, I really don't mean that you have to have like a 10 or 9.9 or 9.5. I mean, it's like you get the point that okay, whatever average of your batch is, try to have something above average, right? So it's good to have high CPI that shows a commitment to your studies, right? So make sure you don't skip your classes. All right, let's see. All right, so if you want to go into research, right? So what drives you to go into research? That's a big question. So is it something that you are just doing because your peers are doing, or is it something that your parents want you to be, so that's why you are going, right? If that is your motivation, then I don't think you should be pursuing that at the moment, right? Specifically PhD, because I'll talk from my experience that PhD requires a lot of commitment, and you all know this, like it is 4 years, 5 years, or whatever years, many years. It's a commitment of that time, and it requires a lot of patience. And what really will drive you through that time is a motivation that is strong enough to hold you in those difficult times, right? If you are just there for a degree on your for a title doctor behind your name, then sometimes that might get difficult. It might get through you, it might get you through the program, it might get you through that degree, but then what I was talking about earlier, the impact it has, or what the PhD was meant to be, the goals might not be met, right? So you need to be really passionate about something that you think that you want to solve, right? Something there's a gap in the science that you see at the moment, and you might not be very clear about that. For example, just to give a quick example, like you might see there's a problem of, I'll give an example from hydrology. You might see there's a lot of problem of flooding, right? It floods a lot, the drainage is not clear. So you have some idea about, oh, I want to really solve this. This is such a big question, but then I want to solve one aspect of it, right? So that's how we do in PhDs. It is called like a T-based thinking. So you go deep as a T, but then you also wide enough to think about a broad problems. So that's how you should think about when you are if you want to go into this field. But yeah, so for the answer to be, this will be yes. You need to be highly passionate about solving a burning problem that you see around you, or something that you want to solve, right? If that is the goal, to have an impact on the society around you, or on the community, I think that will really drive you through all the hard work that you have to put through in these many years. So yeah, try to, if you want to pursue this career, try to think along those lines, that how to set your mindset first, because anything before doing anything, you have to set your mindset that okay, why am I doing this? And I will show you something in the next slide that tells you how to think about solving a problem. Okay, let me pause it here for a bit. Any questions till this point? And if
Yeah, actually, someone asked in the chat box, like, is getting a foreign internship in civil, which is core, is very tough, or how does it depend upon the various factors if you want to list them out?
Right, foreign internship is core civil, yeah. So which field of civil are you talking about? Like, is it structures, transportation, biotech?
Basically, the like how civil is revolving around, like civil is the core, right? And in different fields of civil engineering, like is there some field where you can find it easy to get a foreign internship, or it basically narrows down to how much hard work you put in? Or is there anything you want to tell us about getting a foreign internship?
Right. So I think we used to started applying for foreign internship in third years, where actually there were students that they were doing mass emailing. So they just email professors, and that's a very bad idea, by the way, that you just mass email without looking into the research program or anything. Some of them get positive replies, but then that's not a good idea. So yeah, so foreign internship, there are a lot of programs, I think, and you might be aware of many of them as well. Like, for example, I did through my tax, that had like all the different fields. It has geoinformatics, it has structures, it has transportation. So what they were doing is they were matching professors in Canada to your research interest, what you have been doing so far in your studies, and then they try to match them and try to call you. So it was kind of a paid internship. That was a good program. I know about there are other programs in Europe, in Japan. So for example, in Europe, I think there's DAD, right? DAD scholarship, you might be aware of that. The Erasmus Mundus program. In Japan, there are some good universities that have that. So yeah, so getting a foreign internship is not difficult, but what really you have to show at that point is you can actually even start emailing professors and try to have your cover letter ready for that, and you really want to highlight that you are passionate about research, right? And you have some of the skills. You don't have to have all the skills that the professor is doing or his researcher group is doing, or his or her research group is doing, but then you have to show that you are passionate about learning something new and then contributing something new to his group, right? Or his or her group. So that's important. But it's not tough for the matter. Yeah, it's not really tough. It might be in some cases because of this COVID thing that the funding might be affected over past few years. Like we had this problem here in some of the universities in US that the funding got cut down and then they were not really hiring. But then as the situation is getting better now, I think, and over the next couple of years, hopefully things will get much better. So what I would suggest is try to be proactive in this, and then try to email if you come across a program that is giving paid internship. That's really go for it. But then if there's no such official program from a university, you can just email professors, because many times I've seen here as well that they want some interns for doing some quick stuff, or there's a like 3-month project that they want someone to work on. And so they try to reach out to the department as well, that, okay, if there's an intern, please let us know. So yeah, I mean just email the professors, and then email the even grad students, that if you find a research program that is good enough, so email the professors and email the grad students in that program, so they can tell you about some of the opportunities if they have any.
So is there anything that you did which made you stand out from the other applicants, or is there anything like any specific formula or a protocol you followed which really helped you? Was there anything apart from what normally people do that you did which helped you?
Right. So sometimes what really hits is if they see the what you have done in the past. For example, if you have done a project that really matches what they want at the moment, right? For the suppose they need someone with say skills in machine learning, in hydrology, right? They want someone to work on that. And if you have done a project here, or even if you have done like a online course, for example in Coursera or something, on specifically on machine learning, and then you know a lot of hydrology at the moment, so they know that, okay, this seems like a good fit to do that research. And then you might show with your grades or even with your other projects that you might have done, that you can do teamwork, you can think about a problem well enough, right? So it's a lot about getting those skills matched. I think that really helps, because and I would say the grades really, I mean, they do care about grades, but then it's not that you have to have like a more than 9 or something. Even if you have a decent CPI, don't worry about it. But what really you have to highlight is, okay, you have this skill of, and you have that you can do that research, and you have the knowledge of that domain. I think that really helps. Yeah, and for me, I think, yeah, it was the MyTex program. So that was the case here as well, that they wanted someone in remote sensing, and then I had done some earlier courses in remote sensing. So even you don't have any project or something, but you have done enough courses in that, and you can show that, okay, you have a good background knowledge on that. So I think yeah, it might just turn into a positive thing. So yeah, but I would suggest just go early and be proactive in this. Try to look out for opportunities, and try to seek professors, and try to email them earlier, and so and make this cover letter very customized to that research group, because you don't want to have a you can have a template, but then you don't want to have like, oh, very generic statement that, okay, I want to be in this program because this is very highly skilled, and it's very opportune time for me to work. You know those cliche statements that you want to put in this cover letter. So try to make it more customized to that research group, and you have done enough your homework on that. You have read some of the research papers, so you can mention about that. Oh, I read this research paper of yours, and I was thinking that we can do this particular exercise in another way, right? So you can highlight that those aspects, that, okay, I can make it better, or based on my knowledge here, I can use, for example, other algorithms to make this thing better. So he will think, okay, yeah, he's thinking analytically, he's thinking critically about the problems. So those are the skills that they see usually. They don't want to have You don't want to have all the skills that they require, but you want to have some thinking capabilities that you want to highlight in that.
Right. But again, there are different fields of research, right? There's no particular like one path that you all follow, and then you'll get an intern upon that. So most of what I have seen, and from my personal perspective, what I think is people try to get an internship not because they want to pursue a career in that, or they want to research upon that, but they just go for internship either because they want to gain some experience, or they want that to be added upon their CV or their like resume. So how were you able to pinpoint that, yes, this is my field of research and this is where I want to progress? I mean, there were obviously different options. So was there anything which helped you pinpoint like that? Yeah, this is something that I want to do.
Yeah, so it's a very good question. So yeah, you will not know this, that you want to do a PhD in second year of your undergrad, right, or third year of undergrad. So yeah, that's very true. And actually, I will talk this about in my next slide, but I'll just talk right away. So try different things out at the moment. So when you have the chance, try different things out. And one way to try things out is doing an internship. So if you want to, if you just want to try, okay, how does working in a consulting firm look like, right? How does it feel? Is it really my cup of coffee or no? So you want to try that out first. So that's where the internships play a big role. So they give you a taste of it before you graduate. And so then you can decide in your final year, okay, really I want to be a consultant or no, or I want to be a researcher, or I want to be working in a construction firm or something, right? So that gives you a taste of what you want to be. So that's why try when you want, suppose you might have some inclination, okay, I have done this course project in the course, or say structural mechanics or something, or mechanics of solids, and I really like this particular course, and I want to explore furthermore. So let me see if I find some research groups that are doing this kind of work, and let's see if I can do some research projects with them, right? I mean, that doesn't have to be for an internship. Even it could be in your campus, if there is some professor who is doing extra work. So actually, I remember like me and one of my friends at IITK, we were trying to reach out to other professors in the group, which we haven't taken any class with, but we were kind of interested. I think they were doing something with earthquake or something. We didn't take any class, but we were kind of interested into it, and so we reached out to the professor and we showed our resume, and then we said, okay, do you have any project to work with in the summer? We just want to try out this particular project. So he said, yeah, I will be happy to do that. So he gave us a project. Like it was but it didn't turn out very good. I mean, we found out we need to have some background. But then yeah, that's how you will try things out. So at this moment, if you have some inclination towards what you want to do, or you want to try out a particular project, go ahead and ask that professor if he has something interesting to work on over a period of say a month or so. So you can have a taste of it, right? And so that's where these internships helps. If you want to do if you find something that interests you even a little bit, so try that out first, and then you will get to know, okay, do I really want to be or no? So that's why there are programs here, there are masters leading to PhD. So what that helps is so the masters is kind of a 1 year or a 2 year program where you get to know what research really is, right? Working in a university and working in this research environment, and then you lead to a PhD where you can do okay longer term if you really like it. If you don't like it, you can back it off right away. So that's a safer option, and that's many universities follow that program here as well. So yeah, you need to really try this out first, and then.
Right. So you may proceed now with
any other
slides.
Yeah, I'll have to answer anything else if you have any other questions. Interrupt me anytime. So yeah, just a few more things that I thought might be helpful. So for example, people think, okay, I have not been involved in a lot of co-curricular activities, so is my career doomed? Obviously not. So as I mentioned earlier, that so these co-curricular activities, they are kind of building a personality, and it's good to be involved with them, but don't be involved in them as the sake of your academics. If there's something that is going on, for example, suppose you are involved in Techriti, right? It might be suppose it's like a bridge design program. I remember we used to have that, and then you are spending like hours and hours into that program, and you are missing your quizzes, and you are missing your, I mean, you are messing up your mid-sem. So that will be, it's not a wise thing to do at this point. So make sure your academics are in place, and then have some spare time on the weekends or after your school hours, and try to spend like a set time. Don't overdo something, right? So it's good to be involved in that, and then it's good obviously looks good on your resume that you have been involved in these activities, but make sure there's a good balance between them. And if you haven't been involved so far, no worries at all. So you still have like 1 or 2 years, whatever stage you are at, and then you can look at some projects, and sometimes even it's better to not be involved so much earlier in the stage, because I know like I don't know which year you are on. Is it Y20 is which batch? It's second year, third year, right?
Second year batch.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's 2021. That's true. Yeah. So second year. So in second year, I mean, it's totally fine because you are still getting used to this academics. And I mean, in the first year, for me, it was quite difficult. The first semester is sometimes the most difficult to manage the academics, but then you get used to it. But yeah, you are still in your earlier stages, but so you have still like 2 years or 2.5 years ahead of you, and then you can plan accordingly which activities do you want to be involved with. If you want to pursue research in career in research, try to be involved in the activities that are building some of your skills, or some of your, for example, communication skills. Try to be involved in those kind of activities. Or if you like, for example, research, try to be involved in some of the projects that do have those kind of activities in them. So yeah, make those choices very carefully at the moment. Don't waste your time in other things, but then at the same time have some fun also, because these activities are try to refresh your mind as well. So it's good to be involved with them, but don't overdo that. All right, so my major is going to define my dissertation, or going to define my life. Wow. So no, obviously not. So you are all in civil engineering right now, but what happens often is sometimes you will find a particular topic that you haven't taken any course in. For example, I'll give you my example. So I never took any course in machine learning at the point, because we didn't have any, or even if we had, I was not aware of that topic when I was doing my undergrad. But after coming here when I was doing a master's, I found that, so we were doing kind of this flow forecasting, right? Inflow forecasting, how to forecast how much water will flow into a dam. So we were kind of doing that. So I was doing some of the hydrological modeling and seeing that it doesn't really perform that well. So might as well, let's try machine learning. Is kind of a burning tool that everybody is using. So then I tried to learn about it myself, and then took some courses in Coursera and used that. And actually it did perform quite well as compared to conventional models. So this is the thing I wanted to highlight here is, obviously, yeah, you have civil engineering in your mind right now, But the good thing about IITK curriculum is it gives you a lot of options to take electives in the 4th year, which I've seen many other universities don't do that, right? So you make a good use of this opportunity and use that to take some courses in computer science. Yeah, they definitely need some skills with data science. So I would recommend like courses like data structures and algorithms. Maybe take that if you can. I know it might get very difficult. Actually in our batch, I think few students took it, many students took it, and I think many of them dropped in between. So because it was getting too hard to manage, so DS is kind of hard, and maybe see if there is a lighter version of that. Sometimes they do it, open it for non-majors. So in CS, so see if there's a course open in that, maybe take it. But yeah, having a skill in data science is very important wherever you go. Right now, everybody is using programming, and even like many fields are using that. And if you have that skill, I think you can always excel, and you can always show that, okay, you have some data science abilities. But then, yeah, so this point that I mentioned here, my major is going to depend, obviously not. If you come across a different topics, for example, if you love robotics, then okay, you can use that in your major, and you combine both the skills together to produce something interesting that anyone has never thought of, just because of your background in that, right? Just because of your interest in robotics. So you can merge, like you can do robotic hydrology, for example. So that's just an example. And so don't worry if you don't, at this point you might even not like any of the fields in civil engineering, right? That happens. But then, so what you can do is, when you are in this major, so learn some things in here, and maybe you are more interested in, say, computer science. So merge those two skills, and you can produce something interesting. I say I'm not much user experience, but love, yeah, that's what I mentioned. Love is robotics. Where do I stand? So yeah, average CPI, not a problem. You still have time, 2 years, go ahead. But what I would suggest for this particular person, whoever was this, if he loves, or he or she loves exploring robotics, so maybe do some projects in robotics, and then and if you are in this major right now, so try to learn those skills in hydrology, for example, or not only hydrology. I mean, I'm talking from hydrology, but you might be interested in structures or transportation or geotechnical, and see if you can do something together, right? So it's all about thinking on that lines, that how do I use my skills to do something interesting. And yeah, I mean, so this is all about if you want to pursue a career in research, so how the research can help and combine all that. All right, so that was about some of the questions that I thought of, but yeah, feel free to chime in anytime and yeah, interrupt me. So I think this is
yeah, right. So there was something that I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
So suppose there is a 5th year PhD student and who is expecting to finish off their degree next year. So when and how should they possibly begin exploring the postdoctoral options, and like what are the different ways in which they can proceed upon that?
Okay, so you're talking about like somebody who's in PhD?
No, so suppose someone is currently in the 5th year of PhD and they'll be completing their degree next year. And so about the postdoctoral, right? So going abroad and exploring different options, yes. How can they possibly do it, and when should they start doing it? Start searching or exploring those options.
Right. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, you're thinking far beyond that. Suppose you are already involved, already doing your PhD program, and you are close to graduation. So how do you want to pursue the further opportunities, right? So yeah, I think you will come to this stage soon if you pursue this thing. But then to really to look out for opportunities, I think that starts when you are. So in PhD, I think here they have like a general exam where you have already set your proposal for PhD, and then you are like kind of halfway through. So you have already done some research, and you want to show the community that you are going to do this particular papers, like 2 more papers, or maybe explore 1 more topic, right? So that's where this comes. So I think at that point, when you have already set your research goals, you have done some preliminary research, and then you are just going to follow along your lines of thought. So you have now everything is set in your mind that, okay, I want to do 2 more papers, and I want to finish my research like this. So if you have already decided those things, then you can start looking for some opportunities along those lines. So it might be postdoc, it might be a research position in a lab, or it might be even some of them might also apply for academia, like faculty positions. And some of them do take faculty right after PhD, but it's kind of competitive though. So so I would say that once you have set your research goals and gone through maybe a general exam or whatever format your university follows, I think in IIT Kanpur they say comprehensive exam, I think, if I'm correct. So yeah, but that's kind of like you have done 50-60% of your research, and so then you can start early on. And also even in PhDs we get chance to do internships, so make use of that also to explore other domains that you can use. Okay, I see a question from Zed. So he's asking, when we are contacting professors for MS, should I propose a proposal for masters and as undergrad? If we don't know what to write in it, how to proceed with it? Yeah, I think it's a good question. So, right. So if you are contacting your professors for master's program, so you should first show, okay, you have done what you have done earlier, right? Or actually even before that, you want to highlight that, okay, this is something that I am interested about. This is something I'm passionate about. Right. So in your cover letter, you will start, usually there's like it has to be concise. It doesn't have to be very long. And the format is, first you start with what got you interested in him, right? In him or her, the professor or the research group, what got you interested, right? So you highlight that part in your first paragraph, just in a couple of lines. And then in the second paragraph, or you want to highlight what you have done earlier that makes you capable of doing this, or that makes you that makes you more interested in doing pursuing that particular program. So you want to highlight your background, and then in third paragraph you want to highlight what you can contribute to the program, right? How you can contribute to the program, and other things like sharing your CV or scheduling an interview as well. So you can do that. So but yeah, so coming to your particular question, should I propose a proposal for masters and as an undergrad? Sure. So yeah, definitely, you can propose your proposal for masters, that okay, I want to, if you have any vacancy or if you want to, in your research group, I'll be interested to look out for a graduate position, or yeah, don't talk about funding at that point, but just highlight that you are interested in pursuing a research career from here on, and then you have some of the background skills that you can use them to contribute to the research group that you are applying to, right? And as an undergrad, if you don't know what to write in it, how to, yeah, I mean, so there are like a lot of templates online. You use them, but try to frame it in your language, and just, I mean, it should, if you are interested in that research topic, it will come from your heart, right? It will really come from your heart. Okay, I really want to do this. I read one of the research papers, and then I found this particular gap there that I can contribute to from my expertise or from my background so far. So you can highlight that, and it doesn't have to be very articulate. You can be concise. You can have like, I would say like 8 or 10 lines. That's enough, because they don't have time to read like a long paragraphs, a long email. So just be concise in it, and then there are a lot of good templates, and different universities, like I think Harvard has they have this kind of template that they show. Harvard or one of the universities I saw, so they have a lot of good templates. You use them and try to frame in your words. Is there any scope for chemistry students in NASA? I think yes. So NASA has like the science division of them. They have like 4 different divisions. In particular at Goddard, where I'm working at. So they are using. So there is one earth science. So, and then there is astrophysics, heliophysics, and planetary science, right? So I think surface chemistry. Yeah, actually, I'm not very well aware of the major, but I think they definitely do that in the quality studies, right? In earth science, for example, they do a lot of environmental chemistry, aquatic chemistry, and so yeah, I'm not particularly aware of surface chemistry, but then yeah, I think so. Explore their so I would say go to the science dot I don't know, yeah, for Goddard you can go science.gsfc.nasa.gov. You can go there. Let me just put in here, and then so they have, if I'm not wrong, this should be the address. So if so go there, and you'll see like many divisions there, and then try to look out for a supervisor or a PI that is kind of that has this background, and you can explore their domain. Yeah, I think and for international students like us to go for NASA, I think NASA doesn't hire the international students directly, so we have to go through contractors, but there are ways to go through, right? So when I did the internship, it was through a private contractor. It's called USRA. US Research Administration. So we went through them, and it is not that complicated. So if you want to email any PI or any project supervisor at NASA and just tell them, okay, this is my interest and I really want to pursue this. So you have to be really, you have to be really above the bar, because you are applying to obviously a national lab. So if you show that, okay, you are good enough, and if he or she wants to hire you, he can definitely the process can be made easier for him. So they can go through all the formalities, and you can get through it. But you really have to convince the project supervisor that you are good enough to carry out that research. So it's not that difficult, but then it's just making sure you are able to do the project, right? All right. I don't see any other questions at the point.
Sir, I have a question. May I?
Go ahead.
Sir, like you mentioned about reading research papers. So my question is like, how should we go about reading research papers? Like, what should be the approach? Because when I read some research papers, then like I didn't know like how to infer something. Some points were there, but I was finding it difficult to like comprehend the entire research paper.
Yeah, true. It's a very good question. So I have been asked this question a lot of times. Even like some of my other juniors, they recently asked me this question. So the thing about research paper is, it's like put yourself in the shoes of a reviewer, like as if you are reviewing the paper, right? And by reviewer I mean like when you have done one day when you have done enough research, so that some of the journals will come to you and will ask you, okay, can you please review this paper and provide some comments on this, so that they can go about publishing or accepting or rejecting, whatever. So put yourself in those shoes and try to critique that paper, right? Critique not in terms of is this research good or no, but think of in terms of what are the holes that you see, what are some of the problems that you see in this particular study that you think that might be create a particular problem that is not addressed right away. So what I would suggest is first start with abstract, obviously, and if you see it is interesting enough for you to proceed further, then read the introduction first. That will give, and actually if you are aware of the topic, don't read introduction, go about the methodology first. Read the methodology and then come to the conclusions. Don't read results for now. So what this will help you is first check the abstract. It will give you a whole overview what they did. If it is good enough, proceed to the methodology. Or sometimes even if it is long, you can actually come to conclusions right away. That will help give you a good short summary of what were the key findings of that paper. If you see that groundbreaking enough, then you proceed to the methodology and the results further to explore that. So, and then while doing all of that, come up with certain questions. Like, for example, if you are reading a paper on, I will give you an example for hydrology because I'm aware of that. Suppose you are reading a paper on flood forecasting, right? Now, in flood forecasting, one of the key things is the skill and the uncertainty. Have the authors shown the uncertainty in forecast or no? Because no one can be 100% sure of tomorrow there will be 50 centimeter of precipitation. Nobody can tell that, right? So are there good enough? Is there uncertainty involved in that? So have that question in your mind, maybe write it down somewhere, and then as you read through the paper, try to find the answer to that question. So what this will help you is, it will help you think critically about the paper, and if you have good enough number of questions in your mind that you wrote down, that will help you remember those questions, and you will think, oh, I found the answer to this question later on in the paper. So this will actually help you not just read like a story, but more like an activity that you are doing to help you think analytically, right? So once you think about it, that part of brain is activated where it goes to it makes you remember for a longer period of time, right? So you try to have some questions along the way and see if you find the answers to those. If not, that's very good. That's actually a chance for you to contact the authors and then tell them, oh, I found this particular gap in your study, and even I could be interested in collaborating with you or something. So that might help open a lot of opportunities as well. So yeah, it's a very good question. Where to read research paper? You will find, so it depends on your field. So I mean, if there's a good journal, for example, there is a good journal for earth science studies called AGU. It's American Geophysical Union. They have like a bunch of good journals. So if there is something very interesting that interests you, try to read that. There is a section on like a recent articles, or those are very good works. They highlight on the main page of the journal. So go there and see if something interests you. Otherwise, yeah, you can just do a Google search. Have the Google Scholar ready for you, and then just try. So never search for papers on the regular Google, right? So always search on Google Scholar. That will give you better results and help you find out papers that are more interesting to you. Okay. I think we are out of time anyways. So yeah, this slide was just talking
Hello.
about, yeah.
Hello, sir. This is Vishnu Kumar.
Yes.
So actually, sir, I am a MTech student, and I want to know about that your PhD is of 3 years, I guess.
Right.
So, sir, it depends upon the like your research, or it is of 3 years in Washington University.
So yeah, so actually my program was master's leading to PhD. So I started in September 2016, and then so I finished my master's in first year and a quarter. So up till December of 2017, I finished that, and then right away I converted to PhD program in the same group. So that took from 18 to 19, 20, like 3 years and 1 quarter. So yeah, so there's a minimum limit, like it has to be I think it has to be 3 years for minimum. But then yeah, there's nothing like you have to finish. I mean, yeah, you can finish early just based on your performance. So the way it is, if you have done enough coursework in your masters, the coursework load in PhD gets less, right? So you get more time to do research, and obviously if you are doing it the same professor, so you already have research built in your mind, what you want to do and how you want to improve it. So that helps a lot to fasten the process. But it also depends on other factors, like how is your advisor? Does he really want you to graduate or no early? But then if you show good enough performance, I think you can do in 3 years, 3.5 years. I have known even one of my professors, he told that he did in 3 years. So it's not like something difficult, but try to take your time, because PhD is something that where you get stuck many times, right? So that's what one of my slides was telling later on, that you have to stay your ground. If you have that motivation to lead you. So sometimes I was stuck at a problem for like months. So what to do, like how to pursue further. So, but then yeah, that's what PhD is all about. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes things get quick. But don't worry about the time. It's more about the quality the work you do in there. Yeah. Another question? Yeah, I can just stop here. Let me just see what do I have. Yeah, so why do we go to academia or R&D? Well, if you have a curiosity for solving something interesting, then you go for it and break the conventional workplace structure. Because I have some friends who actually first went to the consulting, and so it was good, and they worked for a few years, but then they found that every day I have to work the same boring stuff. So that's one of my motivations, that I like research more. So you get to do your own stuff, not your particularly own stuff, but you can bring in things that you think might be good to do. And then especially during a PhD, it's all open. It's too open, right? Your professor or advisor will give you many choices. You can solve this particular problem the way you like. So that's what something I really like. You can bring in your own thoughts. You can think very creatively, innovatively, and bring things. But it is certainly not for making more money. Make sure if you are so obviously you will make money later on, but that should not be your main motivation. I like this quote: if you don't work on an important problem, it's unlikely you will do important work, right? So you have to have some important problem. And this is a golden circle. You might be aware, some of you might be aware of it. So you always start with the why of a problem, right? So there's how, there's what, but then, so this is coming from one of the authors. His name is Simon Sinek. Maybe look for him. I think there's a TED talk. It's very interesting. And just type golden circle, you will find a lot of articles about him. But one thing I really like about this is you always start with the why of the problem. Why do you want to pursue something, right? Even if you want to do even if you want to do consulting, you might be doing some working on a problem, right? So why are you working towards it? So that will drive you to the motivation, right? Do you used to this? Yeah, Professor Vinod Tare, I remember him. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, so start with the why, and then that will help you go through the how and the what. Echo chambers, yeah, I don't want to spend time on it, but sometimes what it is a phenomenon in media where you are, like, you see the personalized ads. So whatever you like, you will be surrounded with those kind of environment. And so you cannot think out of that bubble. So try to break those bubbles and try to get advices from different sectors. And sometimes you might think you have some certain notion in your mind and you are not able to break it, right? So that might limit your capabilities of thinking. So try to break that and read more. If you are into research, read more papers to break that. It applies in different scenarios. So yeah, maybe you can read about it later on. Echo chambers, and that's my last slide. So yeah, it's just like a funda, but it has a lot. So for me, like, you have to aim high. Don't be limited in your goals. So if you're, suppose if you're going for universities, applying for research programs, aim for good universities, aim for Stanford, aim for IIT, MIT. Nothing wrong with that. You have a very good background from coming from IITs. People appreciate it a lot. And then yeah, go try for it. But then also try for some of the second grade universities, because have a diversity when you apply to universities, right? So that will help you a lot. Stay the course. Don't be demotivated if you don't get in first or second attempt. I mean, it's always takes time. So yeah, just stay the course. And don't be afraid to try things out. As I mentioned earlier in your questions, that try to try things out in internships, do online coursework. If you like a particular field, pursue that and take projects from professors at your university as well. So yeah, it will help a lot. And excel. Whatever you do, try to do with your best efforts, right? And finally, trust your decisions. So this is very important. Don't lose confidence in it. So it's very important. Whatever you have decided, okay, I want to do a PhD from now on, then trust on it. Stay on it, and don't waver in your thoughts. So that will help a lot as well. All right, I think I took too much of your time, but please, yeah, ask me any other questions. Or I see one more question here. Which technical skills should I learn now? So yeah, it depends on what you want to pursue. I would say I think you definitely should learn some of the data science skills. Maybe something in programming. You might have already taken programming courses, but try to learn something on the lines of data structures, or even machine learning is a very cool topic right now. If you know that, it will help you a lot, that you can apply in any field particularly. So that's good. Other than that, also learn things in humanities, I would say. Like learn things in, like, I mean, if you have humanities courses that you take, so learn things in that. If you're interested in arts, learn things in that. I would say that just widen your horizons, right? That's how you get to think more widely, right? So taking courses in humanities, I love a lot, because that will help you think beyond the conventional way of thinking, and help you improve communication skills. So you should learn as well. Communication is very important when you do pursue a research graduate program, and people judge a lot with that. If you come here, start writing a paper, like I remember the first paper I wrote in my master's, I was scolded a lot by a professor that, oh, you are writing such a long sentence. I know we have been trained to write difficult sentences in India, then you have to learn to write simply, in simple words and short sentences. So try to practice that. Maybe try to join there's this I don't know, this English club. I don't know, I forgot the name, but there's an IITK. There's a lot of good opportunities to improve your technical communication skills. So learn that as well. Yeah, anything that interests you and you see that is needing in your field. Yeah, it's a good time for you to use your time as wisely. And if you have any questions, please, there's my personal email ID, and then you can contact me on LinkedIn. This is a picture of Landsat 9 that was recently launched and this was from so people from here worked on it, Goddard. So I was kind of interested in it. Anyways, yeah, so that's all I have to say, but feel free to ping me anytime. Happy to answer any of you, whatever queries you have.
So were there any challenges that you faced during the course of your research period, or like anything related to the cultural changes, or some things like it's how Indian parents don't want their students, like don't want their kids to go abroad. They want to settle them down in India, and that's basically how most of the parents think. And so were there any of these challenges that you faced during the course of your research time? Or anything related to academics that you would want to share?
Right. Yes, many challenges always, and actually, those challenges are the fun part. So after you pass the challenge, then you will remember, oh, that was quite interesting how I faced that, and then you will tell stories to other people. Oh, that's how I passed. So getting a challenge, like facing a challenge, take it as something that as a challenge, not as something that that is demotivating you or that is discouraging to you, right? Take it as a challenge and fight to it, because you have got capabilities. So you have came all the way through this, like out of millions of people. So yeah, take it as a challenge, and you have the strength to do that. So yeah, so I from my experience, my parents were supportive when I got the research internship first time in Canada during my third year of undergrad. So I think they were quite happy about that. And then yeah, when I said them, okay, I want to do a master's. Actually, I didn't plan to do a master's in my final year outside in foreign, but I wanted to do with one of my professors there at IITK. But then in the last semester, I learned that he is going for a sabbatical. Then I thought that, oh, I should maybe pursue someone else, and there was no one else who, the one whom I liked the projects there. So I tried to find internship outside, and actually this was one of the sessions like this that that was organized at IITK. I went there, and then they were talking about GRE and TOEFL and how to pursue, how to take those tests and how to apply to foreign universities, and see, that was quite helpful to me as well. So yeah, so then I came here, but other than that, I feel a lot of challenges in research. Like first time I didn't take any courses in hydrology at IITK. Like I took the basic ones, but I never took any elective in hydrology. So after coming in the hydrology major specifically here, I had to learn the basic, take some basic courses. But yeah, it was kind of challenging. Even I told my professor one day that, oh, I'm kind of like overwhelmed with too many courses in hydrology. I was only aware of remote sensing up till now. So what do I do? And he said, no, I think we have passed the same stage. It's all, we learned something. We have to learn something for the first time anyways, at some point of time, some point of our lives. So yeah, I mean, it was a challenge. It was a learning curve, but then yeah, I think just stay the course. I think you will be there.
So does anybody have to ask another question, or they have some sort of doubt that they want to get cleared? Anybody?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Is there some relationship between academia and industry? Of course, there is a relationship, but how do we make ongoing products rooting from something, some sort of research, basically?
So you make a product from your research, you are saying?
Yes, sir. While making a product, of course, if we want to do some cutting edge work, or we want to make a cutting edge product, so we need to have some that roots from research.
Right.
So how does an industry man, like some engineer who is not into research, how does he get to develop that product from scratch?
Right.
Like he reads the research paper and then he tries to develop the product. So what is really the course of that?
Right. So some fields, I would say, so some fields are more specific, and some fields are, I would say, they are more capable of building some products compared to some other fields. Like, for example, so in hydrology, for example, so based on the fields, the type of research product will vary. So for example, I'll give you an example. I had a friend from my previous university in Washington, where he was working on bioengineering, right? So that field has a lot of potential on working, so building some of the some products. For example, he has a patent even in his PhD, where he was doing some stuff with how to treat dialysis, right? So he was working with fluid mechanics and how he built some product on how it passes through the blood